An entry-level car used to mean something small, affordable, and fuel efficient. But now with the 2024 Chevy Trax, which is essentially Chevy's entry-level vehicle, you're getting kind of small and not that fuel efficient. But at least it's affordable and nice to be in. This Trax is only rated at 32 miles per gallon on the highway, so let's head out and see if you can even achieve that cruising here in real-world conditions. Hey everybody, it's Charlie from Daily Motor, and tonight we've got the real-world highway fuel economy test on the 2024 Chevrolet Trax. This is the 2RS model. In this test, we're going to head out on the highway and do 50 miles out and 50 miles back, averaging 70 miles per hour to get you a realistic fuel economy number for this subcompact crossover. Before we get started, let's hop out and take a look at it. Totally new for 2024, this Trax is pretty cool. And despite it not getting that great of fuel economy numbers from the EPA, with it only being front-wheel drive and really not being that large of a vehicle, it is still nice to drive around and nice to be in, so it's got a lot to offer. But if you're someone who's going to be putting on big miles, you might want to look elsewhere. But if you do want to see more on the Trax, check the link in the description. We've got all sorts of videos covering the model. So why do we do this test? Well, the EPA's highway fuel economy test, which as I told you gives this Trax 32 miles per gallon, that test only averages 48 miles per hour. Looks like the turning radius isn't fantastic on the Trax either. And we know there are plenty of people who go out on the highway and do speeds that are higher than 48 miles per hour consistently. And you'd like to know what sort of numbers you can realistically expect here in the real world. So in order to test that out, we're going to head over to the gas station here, fill up, go out and do 100 miles, come back, fill up at the same pump using the same 3-click fueling method, and get a result. Now, a few things to note for today. Outside temperature is currently 67 degrees Fahrenheit, and our tire pressures have been set to their door placard 35 psi front and 32 psi rear, and we're going to set the climate control at 73 degrees auto. Just the single zone climate control here in this Trax. Alright, let's hop out and fill it up. 3.702 gallons going in for our first fill. Now before we actually start the engine, we're going to reset our GPS and the car's trip computer, which you can actually do, in fact you have to do, from the center display. Averaged about 24 miles per gallon over the last both 40 and 90 miles. Okay, we got GPS, camera, fuel economy reset. I think we're ready to begin. No drive modes in the Trax, which I am totally okay with. I think keeping it simple is the right move. So we're just going to throw it in D and head over to the highway. Now the goal of this test isn't to hypermile. We're not trying to get the best possible fuel economy number, but rather a realistic figure. So in order to do that, we're going to get up to highway speed here at a reasonable pace. We're going to set our cruise control to a GPS indicated 71 miles per hour. That should give us an average of 70 over the whole test. It's a little grunty 1.2 liter 3-cylinder engine here in the Trax, turbocharged of course. Doesn't make a whole lot of horsepower, but it's got a lot of usable torque for around town, and being a 3-cylinder, it sounds kind of cool. Initial highway impressions, I'm actually really impressed with the quietness and comfort of the cabin here at highway speeds in the Trax. Apparently we do have Chevy's active noise cancellation, so it's actually canceling out some road noise through the speakers using some canceling frequencies. So it's interesting technology to get at this price point. We also have adaptive cruise control, which I think is pretty cool at this price point. It does come at with an option. You know, having adaptive cruise under 30,000 entry-level type car is pretty cool. Also looks like we're getting a pretty accurate speedometer. Chevys do seem to be fairly accurate in my experience, but 71 on the dash is giving us 71 on the GPS. I think we're going to be able to settle in here and cruise. The only thing we don't have that you'd see in something like a car from Hyundai, like a Soul, well that's a Kia Soul or a Hyundai Kona or something like that, is a strong active lane keeping system. We do have some lane departure warning, but I don't believe we have actual active lane keeping on this Trax. So I'm going to continue on with the rest of the test and catch up with you at the end. We're going to record the members only sound test here, so if you do want to see a little more, check that below. In the meantime, enjoy this time lapse of the entire trip. Coming into the end of the highway fuel economy test here in the Trax. We're looking at about 33.6 miles per gallon according to the vehicle's trip readout. However, we did run into traffic due to an accident just about the halfway point, about as far out as we could have gotten. And I was stop and go for probably about 2 minutes. So if we get anything that's kind of near a bubble between one or another number, I'm going to bump up in order to kind of make up for that stop and go time there. But aside from the fairly lackluster fuel economy for a subcompact car, this is a nice place to be for a few hours. I mean, like I said, it's decently quiet, it's comfortable. You don't have any powered seats, so you do kind of get that situation where after you've been sitting for a little while, you might want to change up your seating position a little bit and kind of adjust how you're sitting. It's a little bit more difficult to do that because you have to manually adjust things, but yeah, not too bad. Also, I guess I will note that the door, where you put your elbow on the door pad right there, it's kind of soft to the touch, like rubbery, but it doesn't squish down at all, so no comfy elbows there. Closest thing we can get to the tack shot right now is me looking at it here. We're looking at about 20, it's not the clearest tachometer, is it? About 2200, 2300 RPM here at 71 miles per hour. So a little high, but this is a tiny engine after all. I will say, it is such a small motor, you don't hear it at all on the highway, so that's nice. We're going to get it back to the pump, fill it up, and see what our final calculated number is. 3.090 gallons is what we ended up putting in, so 100 miles traveled divided by 3.090 is giving us, alright, 32.4 MPG according to our calculations, and this is about a mile per gallon below what the car was claiming, which, okay, I guess we can't see it while it's off. Let's start it up. 33.7 according to the car's trip readout, so like I said, we'll bump up from here and then I guess bump down on that, giving us 33 MPG. One better than EPA, but still not a hugely fantastic number for an economy sort of car, especially front wheel drive only. I'm kind of surprised we're dealing with such a small motor that we couldn't see a little bit better fuel economy there. For the first time in a long time, I've had to actually check the owner's manual to see what the fuel tank size is, because EPA doesn't have it and Chevy's website doesn't even have it. But 13.2 gallons according to the owner's manual times 33 miles per gallon is giving you an effective highway cruising range of 430 miles here in the 2024 Chevy Trax. So like I said, I'm not hugely blown away by that number. There are definitely cars in this class that will do quite a bit better, but the Trax is nice in other ways, so hey, if you're set on it and maybe you don't do a ton of driving, it won't be that big of a deal for you. So thank you all so much for watching. If you do want to see more on the Trax, check the link below, and we'll see you on the next one. I'm Charlie from Daily Motor, and as always, drive on.